What is going on, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of VGC Academy. I am joined by my good friend Joey PokeAim.
Yo, what's up, guys? You got PokeAim here.
True.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, dude. Well, thank you so much for being here. And almost everybody is probably gonna be confused about this because this isn't something I've ever done before. But over my time as a YouTuber, I've had a lot of questions about teaching people VGC, and I understand that sometimes when I play, it can be a little confusing just because there's so much going on in VGC, and I don't always explain everything in depth. And so I've wanted to do something like this for a while, where I took somebody who is good at Pokemon and already knows a lot of stuff, but isn't as familiar with VGC as maybe they'd like to be, or they could be, and so and just do a series where I walk through some concepts that are kind of second nature to me, but people could benefit from hearing me talk about. And Joey actually is competing in the upcoming Connecticut regionals, and so this seemed like a perfect opportunity. And I messaged him and I reached out and I was like, "Yo, dude, do you want to do this?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course." So
of course, this is such a great opportunity, especially because you're considered one of the best VGC players out there. So obviously, as somebody who wants to learn, this is such a great opportunity for me, and I hope as well that the viewers are able to learn too. So
absolutely, yeah, and I'm sure they will be. Yeah, and it also helps because Joey and I were talking a little bit before we filmed this, and he's planning on using a variant of what I brought to the World Championship. So it's a team that I am familiar with, and a team that I feel like I can give good insight on. I guess I just want to say, for people who don't know me, I feel like I should introduce myself because we might have people here who don't know a lot about VGC. So my name is Wolf. I have competed in the Pokemon World Championship / VGC, which is the official competition, since 2011. I've won 5 regionals. I got second at 2 regionals. I think I've got top 4 at least 2, maybe 3. I won the national competition twice back when it was nationals and not internationals. I got top 8 at the U.S. National Championships in addition to that, and I've top cut the World Championships 4 times, which is more than any other player in the Masters division, which is the oldest division. My best finishes were 1st in 2016, 2nd in 2012, and 6th in 2011. And this past year I placed 15th, I think, with the team that we're going to be using today. Joey's made some tweaks to it, but overall it's very similar to what I brought to Worlds. So
yeah, I really love it too, because your play style, I think it's similar to mine, whereas I value positioning a lot when it comes to playing singles. More so than making an aggressive play, at least these days anyway. So yes. I've any opportunity to learn, I'll take. So
yeah. And Joe, do you want to introduce yourself as well for people who don't know? Because I really just kind of jumped into it.
How do I follow?
No, I'm sorry.
All right, guys. I'm PokeAim. I'm known in the singles competitive community. So this is the community made competitive side of Pokemon. So not necessarily the one sponsored by Nintendo and whatnot in the Pokemon International, but I play a lot of singles. I play every single tier, all the way from Ubers down to Little Cup. I've played in a lot of Small One tournaments. I recently won the RU Grand Slam, and I've made top 16 in OST 2 years in a row. Gotten up to semis a couple times in a few team tournaments, and yeah, I love Pokemon, and VGC is something I've always wanted to do, and this is the first year that I'm really starting off in, going to be, once we're getting into 2018, I'll finally be able to go right into it. So I'm excited to get into it with 2017 with Wolf himself, and thankful he's my boy.
Yeah, right back at you. And Joey is known for being a very strong Pokemon player in general, and the fact that he knows so many different formats, it makes it it makes it a lot easier to teach because he has so many of the fundamentals down. But yeah, I think we've gone on enough about that. So I want to explain kind of what to expect with these kind of videos. So the way that I see this working is we're going to follow a general structure, which is we're going to, other than this episode, we're going to do introductions to be a little bit more formal. But from here on out, we're going to each episode is going to have a different concept that we're going to talk about. So the theme of this episode is team preview, which we'll come to in a little bit. So we'll begin by introducing the concept. I want to go in depth on it and provide thoughts on the concept and how to approach it and how to apply the things that we talk about. Then we're going to go through some examples with Joey. So that's going to be not under pressure, but for example, here's a situation in a game that's already happened. I know what I did. I want to hear your thought process and how you would approach getting through that, so that way you get some experience when it's not necessarily under pressure, and we can kind of talk through the decisions with more time than we might get in an actual game. And then lastly, I want to close the episode with playing an actual VGC match, so that way we can slowly build and apply the concepts that we've been talking about, but also Joey gets some experience actually playing the game, and so we can throw in other concepts there as well that we haven't talked about yet. So yeah, that's kind of what to expect, I think. Any questions, Joey?
No, I mean, it sounds good. You pretty much explained it all. We're going to be going over team preview, and that's a huge aspect of Pokemon. I think it's a lot bigger in VGC than it is in singles as well, just because you have 4 Pokemon that you can bring. And though it is best of 3, still, team preview is a huge aspect, and being able to figure out what you're supposed to bring is super important. So Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just jump right into it then. So team preview. This is what it looks like. I've got an image on the screen of team preview. As you can see, for those of you, most of you probably are aware, but basically you get your 6 Pokemon on the left side, you get their 6 Pokemon on the right side, and you have to choose 4 of those in 1 minute and 30 seconds that you want to bring to the battle. So it's a really difficult thing to approach because there's some interesting things about it. Like one of the most interesting things I think is that you have to, like, even though each player is only bringing 4, ideally you still have to cover for all 6 of their Pokemon, even though you can only bring 4. So like it's like for each individual, like it feels lopsided because you have to cover for all of their options, or you can just get, like, that's how I like to play at least. Like I don't want to, like, I don't normally, unless it's like a very desperate situation, I don't want to be like, if they bring this Pokemon then I lose, you know? So you have to cover for everything, but again, you have very limited tools and very limited resources, which is why I think like something that separates VGC from singles is that because you have less Pokemon that you're like like to work with, each piece is like worth a little bit, like it's like more important, you know?
Correct. I agree completely.
Yeah, and so also like the fact that there's more things in the field and like pressure is different in singles versus VGC, but that's not really the point. But yeah, I thought team preview would be a good place to start because literally it's how every single game begins. And the Pokemon that you bring kind of directs, it dictates the direction that you're going to go, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And this is actually like a really difficult point for me, especially with VGC, which is why I'm grateful that we're using your team as well, because you very much understood it. Whereas if I went to somebody else and they just said, okay, here's a team that got top 8 at Internats, like, use this. And I was like, wait, how do I use it?
Yeah.
Like, what is this supposed to do? But you said you wanted me to give my thoughts on this team preview right here.
Oh, sorry. No, not yet. We're not there yet. Sorry. We'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
But yeah, right. So Joey's exactly right. So the thing is that, like, team previews, like, it's an important topic to talk about, but it's also kind of difficult because it really does depend on the team that you're using and also like your play style. And so yeah, but like it's good because, like, as Joey mentioned, like, obviously I've used this team and I built this team, so I do have experience with this specific team, and so I'm trying to talk about concepts that are generalizable. I think that's a word. And yeah, but yeah, so let's jump into it. So I have just a couple things that I want to talk about when talking about team preview. And there's little like different levels and like different levels of depth, especially when you're talking about how to approach team preview, and the depth really comes with like how comfortable you are with the team and how familiar you are. The first thing you want to do is, like, and it's general, but you want to assess the threats on their team. And so, like, basically you need to start breaking down the information into smaller components. So if you see a Pokemon like Togedemaru and you don't have Tapu Koko, for example, then Togedemaru is not a Pokemon that normally exerts a ton of offensive pressure, and you kind of know exactly what to do. And so it's a Pokemon that can kind of be, like, depending on your team, of course, but it can generally be dealt with without like devoting a ton of resources to. Whereas a Pokemon like Eevee, which is like a huge threat, is very threatening because it can like Z Geomancy or Z Evo Boost and then Baton Pass into something. And so like the threat level of a different Pokemon you need to treat differently based on your composition and whether or not you're like weak to it. Apart from like setup threats, there's also like Pokemon that just happen to threaten your team. Like a team without a water resistance is going to be kind of naturally weak to Tapu Fini if it doesn't have good switch-ins. And so there's different kinds of threats. Like there's threats that can boost or like set up and then be in a dangerous position. That's stuff like Eevee and Baton Pass, or Z conversion Porygon Z is a really big one. There's offensive threats, which are Pokemon like Kartana, Pokemon that hit really hard. Let's say Choice Band, Gigalith, and Trick Room. That's a Pokemon that hits really hard, and you need to be careful when managing that. And then there's defensive threats, which is like if you don't KO, if you don't preserve your resources correctly, you'll lose slowly to this Pokemon. So that's like Curse Snorlax or Snorlax in general that are bulky, Celesteela, Pokemon like that. Porygon 2 is one, back when Porygon 2 was bigger. Like if you don't have Toxic on that thing, it could be really difficult to get rid of. Milotic, Pokemon that are really bulky. Because a VGC match, even though it's 2-on-2, can eventually be played down to a 1 versus 1 if you like don't manage resources correctly, and then those Pokemon. I mean, Joey can probably speak, but like stall Pokemon in singles are really hard to take down if you don't have a ton of resources.
Exactly. Yeah. And the idea of a stall team, just to go with that example, is that you get rid of what your opponent needs, so that way this mon can't be beat. So like you said, if you don't keep your resources, if you don't play them well, and you lose the Pokemon that can beat them, you're going to lose to that Pokemon in the end. So
exactly, yeah. So that's a concept that definitely translates. And so like not only do you, so like the first step is to assess the threat, right? And then from there you need to pay attention to your tools and like say, okay, this is a Pokemon that's damaged, like that really threatens me, and how can I deal with that? And actually I want to come to that later, but yeah, that's the question of team preview. Another kind of like more basic thing is you want to pay attention to speeds. Speeds not only like the raw speed set of a Pokemon, but also like things like Thunder Wave and Trick Room and Tailwind that affect the speed sets of Pokemon, Icy Wind, Bulldoze, stuff like that. Because because in general, moving first is a pretty good thing. Especially in 2 versus 2, because if you're able to KO a Pokemon before it attacks, then that's like basically one attack that you didn't take. And a lot of VGC is centered around making sure that you like are in a favorable position when it comes to speed. That's why Trick Room often does well at Worlds and throughout the season. Like we've seen Icy Wind and Thunder Wave in the past. Even this year, Bulldoze, which in my opinion isn't like a super strong move because it hits your partner. Like that move was huge in VGC 17 because there was very little speed control, you know. And so speed is really important. So it's something you want to keep in mind. You want to make sure that like and that's like in general that like you have a way of dealing with their speeds, and also like you need to be keeping in mind which Pokemon they have and which Pokemon they're likely to bring, so that you can like pay attention to what your relative speeds are going to be compared to theirs. And then lastly, like just kind of a basic thing for like the first level of stuff is that you want to be paying attention to like potential strategies your opponent might use. This comes primarily through experience. So like if you see Torkoal and Lilligant, you can say, okay, like I kind of know what to expect here. Like this is probably going to be like Drought Torkoal and like a really fast Lilligant with Chlorophyll, which could use after you or Sleep Powder or Nature Power or Z Nature Power or Leaf Storm, you know, like all this kind of stuff. Or Rain Teams, or even stuff that's like seeing a Snorlax and being like, okay, like they might have some support. They probably have some support for the Snorlax, right? So maybe like that Tapu Koko could have Reflect, or that Ninetales could have Aurora Veil, stuff like that. Yeah, that's like mainly like something that you get with experience, and that's why, especially when you're starting off, it's important to like play a lot of games, just because so you like can know what the opponent's Pokemon will do, you know.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, sorry, I said it like it was a question, but it was just a statement.
No. I mean, I'm learning too, guys. So like I'm also I'm like watching the video though I'm in the video. It's like I'm trying to absorb it all as I'm playing, because again, this isn't my format per se. So yeah, I'm learning. Yeah,
sorry. But I feel bad that I'm talking so much right now, but we definitely will have a chance to have more of a dialogue going on. But
don't worry about it.
Here's something that I've never really talked about too much, I don't think. I'm in my head, I have something that I call the rule of 2. And that is like when you're looking at an opponent's team, once you've identified the threats, I want to make sure like when I'm playing a game that I always have at least 2. It's normally exactly 2 answers to every single one of their threats. So for example, on the Worlds team, Celesteela, we didn't have that many ways of hitting it. So if they had Celesteela, like actually I guess we kind of hit it like kind of hard, but I would never bring like Kartana, Mimikyu, and Snorlax versus Celesteela, because that's 3 Pokemon that can't really hit Celesteela very hard, you know? And so I generally wanted some combination of Arcanine and Togedemaru, or Arcanine and Feeny, both of whom could hit Celesteela really hard. And +6 Snorlax can do damage versus it, but generally you don't want Snorlax to have to get to +6, because they can burn you, they can leech seed you, and they heal a lot of health. But yeah, so like the rule of 2 basically says that like you look at their team and you say, which Pokemon are threatening to me? And that could be like we talked earlier, that could be setup, that could be offensive. Setup, you don't need 2 as long as you have like a really good way of stopping it. Like with Z Conversion, Porygon Z, like you don't necessarily need 2, but you have like, that's a different case. But with offensive threats and with defensive threats, like with offensive threats, you want to make sure you have enough Pokemon that can switch into the attacks, and you also want to make sure that you have enough Pokemon that can like get rid of them. And so Kartana is a really good example. Like if you don't bring Arcanine versus Kartana, and you don't have Celesteela, like many teams are really weak to it offensively, just because like it hits so hard, and if it takes a KO, like if you don't have any grass type switches and it uses Bloom Doom, like it's not going to be good. And it also has such high physical defense that oftentimes, like, if you don't have a special attacker in place at the right time, then you're also in trouble. So, yeah, I remember, like, that's, like, something, like, if you build a team well enough, you should have, like, different tools for pretty much everything. And so that's, like, a personal way that I kind of deal with threats. And it's kind of abstract right now, but we'll apply it in a second. And the last thing I want to talk about, just kind of in the lecture portion, is something about, like, assumptions, which is, like, as you get more experienced, you'll start to realize, like, you can start, even though your opponent has 6 Pokemon, you can start to narrow down and, like, start to, in some situations, you can make assumptions about what you think they're going to bring. And the theory is that, like, let's say your opponent has a threat, and, like, you're, like, a threat, something that, like, really threatens your team. So, for example, versus, like, the team that Joey and I are using, Alolan Persian's really, really threatening. And so, the thought process that I use, and I haven't checked this with, like, any game theorists, so I don't know if this is actually flawed, but what I think is, like, okay, if they bring Persian, then like we should assume they're going to bring Persian because it's threatening versus our team, and they would be kind of silly not to. And if they don't bring Persian, then they're not bringing something that like really threatens our team. So we're still better off even if we've prepared for it, you know, as long as you don't like hard rely on like making that like assumption. And like what's nice is that like Persian is a Pokemon that normally comes in front, right? So you're normally going to know whether or not they have it. But if you use that same kind of process and thought process versus like when thinking about like other Pokemon, you can like if you can assume what they have in the back based on how they've played previous games or based on their team composition or based on assumptions, then it makes it a lot easier to predict switch-ins and to see like where they could potentially go into. And once you know that information, you can like do moves that cover a lot of options. For example, like if you use both your Pokemon, one to attack the Pokemon in front that would KO it and one that would KO what you think they have in back, then it's like it's a really positive thing, obviously. So yeah, that's all I got for kind of initial thoughts on that. Is there anything that you have questions on? Is there anything that doesn't make sense? Did you go in depth on too much, or did I not clarify anything enough?
No, I think what you said makes perfect sense. Though I'm not sure if this actually goes in with team preview, but also you mentioned how you want to make sure you have at least 2 Pokemon for your opponent's Pokemon. So I guess that also makes sense, or that should be applied towards your positioning as well. Like let's say I let off with these 2 Mons, and if they let off with these Mon, I'm automatically in the back. Or
Exactly.
like maybe like I lead off with an Arcanine with Intimidate, but I know they have a physical threat in the back, and if that Mon comes in after, I'm in a bad position because my Intimidate Mon is already out in the field. You know, pre-Intimidate.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's also important to apply, like, or to like positioning as well. Of like when you're picking your team preview, if I pick my 2 leads, I got to make sure the Pokemon in the back can deal with something they could send in. And I like. For example, again, the Arcanine, as an Intimidate user, if I see that they have a physical threat, I'll either automatically switch it out when I have it as a lead, or I'll have it in the back always, and with something already out in front that could take a hit, but just appreciates the -1. Yeah. So I think that's a big thing, like positioning what you're picking. Like I think your first 2 and then your second 2 actually matter, like in that position. Like I don't think I just pick, let's say I have these 4 Pokemon I want to bring that I think they're good versus them, but I think the order that I put them in is also super important.
You're right, yeah, and that's something I haven't actually thought about that because it's kind of just like intuition. I forgot about that, but you're so right. Yeah, like positioning is crucial, and team preview like determines your initial position. So yeah, that's really 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 wise. Good call. Cool. Okay, so let's.
You taught me that.
Yeah, but I forgot. So the students become the master or whatever. Okay, so Joey, now I sent you in Discord. I sent you a picture of Toby on the left and me on the right, and it's team preview. And we have time. I just want to hear what you're like. This is Worlds Day 2, Round 3, and it's Game 1. And I want to hear like what your thoughts are, because this is like a standard team composition. So I want to hear what your thoughts are approaching this.
All right. So initially, because I know the team, I know that Garchomp is a huge threat. Like Garchomp is a big threat. So Feeny is definitely coming because Feeny also threatens Arcanine, which pairs like Kartana is also pretty solid versus my opponent because it outspeeds Garchomp and can KO with Bloom Doom. Also threatens Snorlax. I already see Ninetale, so I'm thinking Aurora Veil, potentially Roar, Disable, Icy Wind for speed control.
Could be Encore too.
Yeah, Encore as well, thank you. Coco could be Discharge because it's paired next to a Garchomp. I'm not 100% sure on that. And a Celesteela, I'm just thinking maybe Wide Guard. Well, I don't know if Wide Guard makes much sense with... I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking like just Leech Seed, Heavy Slam, Protect. Arcanine, I don't think it'd be Bulldoze.
Probably
I think
not.
That's a waste with Aurora Veil, and like why would you lower your opponent's speed when you're already giving them these screens? And then lacks either Curse or Belly Drum, especially because he has screens under it. So that's what I'm thinking. Like initially when I see his team, like I'm thinking maybe SD Tectonic Rage Garchomp is probably a good guess.
That's normally the case, or it's Scarf on this kind of team. So normally it's one of those two.
They run Scarf.
Yeah, because sometimes their game plan is just like KO the other Pokemon and then just Scarf into Earthquake, or like weaken everything a lot and then just like Scarf, Earthquake, sweep everything. But we don't know, and that's also been like less of a trend going forward. Like people are moving back towards Swords Dance, Z Ground. But you're right, yeah, like that's SD to Z Ground is like the most common set, and then Scarf is also a good option.
Yeah, because I've seen like variations of this type of team with like Xurkitree over Coco for like Tail Glow and Discharge, which is why I'm thinking Coco might have Discharge, but I'm not sure if that makes a lot of sense. But that's just my experience, though.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you see that like looking at your okay. So looking at your team offensively, what are the Pokemon that really pressure him a lot, and like why?
Feeny smacks him.
Yeah.
Like he hates switching into Feeny. It's Specs. Muddy Water for Arcanine, the accuracy drops. We have Dazzling Gleam for Garchomp. If I pair Feeny with Togedemaru, Coco literally cannot touch it. I don't think Ninetales runs Freeze Dry in doubles. They run like
sometimes
Icy Wind Blizzard,
but not normally. Not normally.
I mean, either way, Feeny's bulky enough to that's probably like a 3 KO.
Yeah.
But yeah, Feeny's amazing. The fact that it pressures Arcanine, pressures his entire team. It's also one of the Pokemon on the team, like I mentioned, Garchomp being a huge threat. It's one of the Pokemon on the team that could take a hit from Garchomp.
Yeah.
So
especially
I'm definitely thinking Fini.
Okay,
yep,
yeah, and like something that you, like I think you realized, but we didn't actually explicitly say, but for everyone watching, Toby has no water resistances, and so with Specs Fini, that's like normally a pretty good sign that you might be wanting Fini. But yeah, okay, go on. So Fini, I agree. I think Fini's really strong here.
I think Arcanine is good too. Deals with Celesteela, Intimidate for Garchomp, for pivots mainly. I don't think actually for using it to attack Garchomp. Maybe a helping hand if it's paired with Kartana. Obviously Fire for the Ninetales, and I also like Intimidate for opposing Arcanine and Snorlax. Though I don't think it matters much for Snorlax if it's Belly Drum.
But for Garchomp, it can actually make a big difference, and also for helping Fini beat Celesteela, because Heavy Slam can do a number. Correct.
Okay. So I like both of those a lot. And like if I had to pick last two, like I'm really struggling. I'm definitely not bringing Mimikyu.
Okay.
I don't. Maybe not in at least game one.
Yeah.
Game two, I can try something with Z Destiny Bond depending on how he leads, because a Mimikyu is faster than 3 of his Pokemon. But Garchomp, Ninetales, and Tapu Koko. Like if let's say I was playing this and in game one I decided to bring Togedemaru to shut down like Koko, I think in a game two I might switch over to Mimilax.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because I pretty much pressured him to not bring the offensive one, and I don't think you'd lead off with Garchomp plus Ninetales ever versus me. I think
no.
I think Ninetales plus Koko, Ninetales plus Arcanine are all, or Ninetales Lax are all good leads versus me. Like I like Garchomp pressure in the back a lot.
Yes.
Especially because with Ninetales up, he won't Earthquake himself if he Scarf. And that's something I'll find out in game one.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so I agree, no Mimikyu game one. So then you've got 2 of the last 3.
Yeah. So this is why it's tough for me. I like Togedemaru because it puts down Koko, appreciates the electric terrain for hitting Celesteela. I'm pretty sure that gets boosted.
Yeah.
Yes. And also fake out support is pretty crucial, especially versus a setup team like this. SD Chomp potentially, or even Scarf Chomp, it could save me versus Scarf Chomp since Chomp can't protect. Same thing with faking out / encoring Belly Drum, Snorlax, and even encoring it to protect Arcanine. Like Togedemaru is nice because it's same thing. It's faster than all the mons and Mimikyu's faster than.
Yes.
But it's tough for me on the last 2. I think I'll probably lean more towards Kartana because I want the extra insurance versus Garchomp if it's not Scarf. But I also love Lax because he doesn't kill Lax, just like we don't kill his Lax. Like he doesn't kill Lax with anything.
Yes.
Like you mentioned how Celesteela could be an issue for it, but I mean if I'm +6 and I just recycle, I beat Celesteela out. Like I wrecked through Arcanine. I also beat his own Snorlax, so it's tough for me, which is why I want your opinion.
Okay,
right here.
So I think Kartana's pretty good here because we don't know if his Ninetales is Roar. It could Arcanine and Ninetales could both have Roar. Koko could even have Roar in theory. Ninetales could have Encore. Arcanine could have Will-O-Wisp or Toxic, both of which are pretty bad. And I do think we want in this matchup. I think initially what you would want to do is. I think you want to try and abuse Fini, and so Kartana does that a lot better than Snorlax, because Snorlax is kind of its own separate mode, whereas Kartana, if you get Kartana and Fini on the field at the same time, you force him to focus on one of them, and since Kartana is so fast, then it's kind of it just puts a lot of pressure on. So, and especially you mentioned it earlier, but I think for the rule of 2, I think we want Kartana because of non-Scarf Garchomp. And
exactly, switching it, yeah.
And Scarf Garchomp isn't as big a threat to this team because you can KO it with Fini, and it can't Z ground you, and you can mitigate it with Intimidate, and you have Fake Out. So
yes.
And it doesn't really threaten Kartana either. Yeah.
So if that's the case, then Togedemaru is definitely the mon we're bringing.
Yeah.
If we want to make sure that Fini does what it has to do.
Yes. So then, what order do you think you'd go in?
I feel like I'd go Fini Arcanine first because I think that immediately pressures everything, and I can pull back Arcanine immediately if it doesn't have a good matchup outright. But I think the key thing is the Intimidate on Garchomp. But if I was my opponent, I'd lead Ninetales Koko versus us, right?
Okay.
So that's why I like Togedemaru on the back to give me an initial muddy water into the Lightning Rod absorption type of thing. Have Arcanine in the back, or switch it out immediately, depending on if it doesn't have a good matchup. Switch it out immediately. That way I have that Intimidate to come back in for Garchomp, for Celesteela. And I think I'd bring Kartana, Togedemaru on the back. I mean, I guess Togedemaru lead also works out because it fakes out everything and it allows me to muddy water as well. Like it can stop the Veil, which is pretty big.
Yes.
And our Tapu Fini does live 1 Tectonic Rage from Garchomp unboosted, so that's also a decent lead for me.
Yeah.
Again, I want to hear what you have to say because I'm not I haven't played much Veil. when I've been testing. So
yeah, so I went Fini Togedemaru in this matchup, and I think the reasoning is that I like fake out, like, because in case he has any choice items on these Pokemon, like I liked that I could fake out the one that I thought was choice and immediately launch Muddy Water for big damage. And the other thing is that, like, it's kind of a weird thing, but just because he has Hail, like, you can't, like, if you lead Togedemaru, you're guaranteed at least to get off like one fake out, but if you switch it in, there's a chance with Hail that it just like gets KO'd.
Breaks your stash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I believe that's why. And also because if he leads Coco, you can fake out the partner in Muddy Water, and he like is he just takes damage, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. You know.
Yeah, Coco is probably at the Dazzling Gleam, which is about I think 37%. I want to say to Togedemaru on spread. If it's specs, if not.
Yeah. Or like the damage trade's not in his favor at all.
Yeah, so I can see Togedemaru. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Also having Arcanine in the back for the Intimidate to switch in on Garchomp, just in case Tapu Fini takes a little bit of damage. If I got that Intimidate, I can still take a clutch Tectonic Rage.
Exactly.
And I like Kartana in the back as well. Yeah, I like Arcanine Kartana in the back because, like you said, making Heavy Slam weaker and whatnot. The only thing I'm scared about with this type of thing is I do have Encore and I do have Intimidate, but Muddy Water accuracy drops. But I'm actually scared of Snorlax. But then again, Leaf Flake and Cray.
You have Sacred Sword as well, which does like
and Helping Hand too, yeah.
And like he can't set up Snorlax as long as Togedemaru's on the field, and as long as you have Spiky Shield, like there's Pokemon that like can get rid of Togedemaru are kind of threatened by Fini. You know, like that's like Arcanine, who is like doesn't want to take Muddy Waters, and Garchomp, who doesn't want to take Moonblast. Yeah, and like you can like the thing is Muddy Water does like 30% to Snorlax, so if you do 30, then they do 50 to themselves. Like if you Muddy Water again and you hit them, like they're at 40% at the moment. And so like that's just like not a good position to be in, because then if they recycle, they're wasting their turns. You get more chances to attack and reposition. If they attack, then you bring in Kartana and KO them. So it's like it's actually not as bad as you think. But yeah, so you have to keep positioning in mind when dealing with Snorlax.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so
yeah,
I mean, so then I think, like you said, Fini, Togedemaru, Arcanine, Kartana would be the way I go. And then depending on how that game went and how little Coco did, I'd switch over to mode 2 of Mimikyu Lax and try and belly drum up immediately.
That's exactly what I did actually in the tournament. I did like the first what we just talked about game 1, and then game 2 I was like, he probably doesn't bring Coco, and so I went Mimilax, and it worked really well. So yeah, good intuition.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Wait, Z-Destiny Bond also, since it's Follow Me, Roar would also go into you, correct?
Yep, Roar is redirected as well, even though it's not a damaging move.
Alright.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's do the other example, and then we'll jump into the battle.
Okay.
Cool. So, this is me versus Eduardo. We're both 4-2. He got top 4 at Worlds last year, and he's like a really nice guy, and he, the winner of us is in top cut, and the loser is out of the tournament. So this is like a high-pressure match, and as you can see, he's got Arcanine, Coco, Kartana, Tapu Fini, Porygon 2, and Mudsdale.
This is game 1?
This is game 1.
Okay, so first thing I noticed, Snorlax is slower than Mudsdale, so Trick Room is an option, especially because he does have Porygon, and it also threatens, it beats everything bar Kartana and Mudsdale if I let it hit me without Intimidate pressured next to it. That's one thing. I also noticed that Mimikyu only has 2 Pokemon that outspeeds it, Kartana and Coco, and if Kartana isn't Focus Sash, it does go down to the Never Ending Nightmare from Mimikyu, plus I have the Disguise. So I definitely want to bring Arcanine 100%. Intimidate's crucial for not only Mudsdale, but mainly Kartana.
Yeah, when you see Kartana, you're bringing Arcanine.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm actually leaning towards Mimilax as a lead, because I can either Z-Destiny Bond, depending on what he leads off with, or Trick Room up immediately and just Belly Drum. Again, depending. Though Trick Room up immediately, like if he leads Kartana, I'm definitely Never Ending Nightmaring it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think I would get the kill.
Yes. It depends what he leads next to it, right?
Yeah. Because like if I have Arcanine, I'm okay versus Kartana, but like Kartana is the one thing. Like I don't know if he's Roar Arcanine. I don't know if he's Haze Fini. That's another thing. Like I have to figure it out a lot. But I do like the Trick Room mode in this one a little bit better.
If he leads Coco and Kartana,
that's something I'm worried about.
Yeah, because like those are the 2 Pokemon that outspeed Mimikyu. So how would you do if you go Mimilax? Do you think you could beat Coco Kartana? They're normally Z-Grass or Z-Fighting, but Z-Grass is the most popular one. So if he leads Coco Kartana, do you think you could handle that?
I think it depends on if he calls my Protect with Snorlax. Like let's say I just Z'd into Coco and attack. Like if he did lead Coco plus Kartana, if I were him, I'd Dazzling Gleam and then attack Mimikyu.
Me too.
Just because of the Togedemaru and then that. So I definitely want Arcanine. Maybe that way, if that's the idea, then maybe Mimilax actually isn't that strong initially. Then
that's what I thought as well. Like because like when I was approaching this, I was like, okay, Mimulax beat, like, if we can get Snorlax and Trick Room boosted, like, we can KO everything, especially because Porygon 2 don't normally run Protect. But, how do we deal with Koko Kartana? And so, yeah, that's kind of that's where I reached, like, in team preview. I was like, I don't know if we can, like, especially because if you don't know the sets, like, for example, if it's like Assaultless Koko, which sometimes they are on this team with like Nature's Madness, like, it can take, like, it can be really, really problematic. And so,
or even a Skydrop one would be annoying too.
Yeah, and and also even if you switch Arcanine, Snorlax into Arcanine, Bloom Doom still KOs Mimikyu at -1, or it did on my Worlds one at least. So that's something to keep in mind. So, like, so you should assume that Kartana can KO Mimikyu through even at -1.
If that's the case, then I would actually, like, I prefer Arcanine as a lead because if the only thing he has that really scares it out would be Feeny, I would say, and then I guess Koko for a little bit of damage, but it does help me at least initially pressure Kartana and not have to switch into it.
Agreed.
Like, Kartana, you would think Kartana would either detect or switch, right? Or maybe if they're, you know, maybe if they had like Feeny next to it, maybe Stub is also an option, which is scary, but at least I can get off that initial Intimidate, I think.
Yes, I agree. I agree that Arcanine, I really like Arcanine as a lead here because, like, otherwise you're going on the back foot too much versus Kartana.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So
then,
Arcanine is a lead. I actually don't mind Togedemaru in this game. Just because it helps Koko, it outspeeds Feeny, can encore that, and even Mudsdale, though it is a threat. I mean, I'm definitely bringing either Kartana or Feeny with me. Like, Kartana has at worst a speed tie with his own Kartana, and if I bring it, my Togedemaru shuts down his Koko. Bloom Doom to pressure Feeny and that, and if that's the case, then did you end up going? You left Mimulax in the first game, and you went Arcanine, Togedemaru, or Arcanine, excuse me, Arcanine probably Kartana, because out threatened Tapu Fini initially, and then Feeny plus Togedemaru in the back, or Arcanine Feeny, Kartana plus Togedemaru in the back.
Bingo. That's exactly what I did. Yeah, and like I think I literally did the same thought process that you just did, which is like I was like, okay, I want Arcanine up front so that Kartana doesn't put me on the back foot, and then I was like, I just had a feeling he was going to lead Arcanine, and so I wanted Feeny up front so that I could start pressuring with Muddy Waters. And I think I had a feeling, or I knew, like, I don't know if someone told me or what, but I like didn't think his Feeny was Specs, and so therefore Kartana could actually switch in a little easier to that, and so that was like just some prior knowledge. But yeah, I was like, he can, like, the only things he has that can get rid of Feeny quickly are Koko, who we have Togedemaru for, and Kartana, who we're leading Arcanine with, and like Muddy Water still does a pretty good job versus this team, and Moonblast is pretty strong as well, and so actually, and also Joey, like something that you touched on, like a concept that we talked on earlier, but just to put it into words, was like you realize that his Koko is kind of like useless in a lot of sentences because you have Togedemaru, and so you mentioned like your Kartana actually, like, effectively, like, we assume that Koko isn't going to be doing that much because we have Togedemaru, so therefore our Kartana is at worst speed tying with his Kartana, but versus everything else we're faster than it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like, I think that's so yeah, speed again comes in really, really important here because just like an important thing to be faster. So yeah, that's exactly what I did. Arc Feeny, Kartana, Togedemaru, and I do think Mimulax is strong. Like, my thought process here was like, Game 1, let's threaten like the Koko Kartana lead, and like if like let's try and beat him like with our, like, what I thought our best option was just taking away his terrain, intimidating him off the bat, and like putting on pressure. And then Game 2, like if he leads anything other than Koko Kartana, he's just in such a bad spot. So Mimulax, exactly.
Okay, I like that because I think something also people who don't play Pokemon need to realize that Pokemon also has like a mental game type of thing. So it's a conditioning type of thing that he did. Arcanine Feeny put Togedemaru in the back, made Koko useless, so less likely that he brings it. So if he did lead Kartana plus Koko,
he did.
Which one do you pull back?
I don't.
Muddy Water, go Togedemaru, or you don't pull back either?
I don't remember. That's like I don't remember what I did. Like,
that's a tough call too because one of them could detect and the other one could still Volt Switch attack. Let's pull back Arcanine into Togedemaru, right, for Koko. If Kartana doesn't detect, if Kartana just subs, I mean, you still break the sub. And you get off of Muddy Water. I guess that's still decent.
You probably, if you're switching one of them out, you're probably switching Feeny out because
Doom could threaten you.
Yeah, because if you switch Feeny out, there's no way he takes a KO, right? Like, he'd need to use like Nature's Madness and Z Fighting. Like, I don't think there's any other way he could KO. Like, he could KO your Arcanine, and so like if I was feeling risky, I'd probably go like what's cool about our team is that Muddy Water or Feeny actually outspeed to Arcanine. So if you go Muddy Water and Flare Blitz into Kartana, you actually, I think that's what I might have done actually, because switch to Togedemaru is so obvious. So like, you can just risk it. And in the worst, like the only way in which you lose Feeny probably is like if he goes Z-Grass, in which case you KO him anyways.
Yeah, like, so you get rid of the big threat for you. That
exactly.
Also, that's not that bad. Especially because he's a more experienced player, so he would expect Togedemaru.
It'd be so risky for him to just Bloom Doom when Togedemaru switching in. Like if he guesses wrong, he loses Cortana and gains like nothing. You know?
Yeah. Like if I was on his side, I'd just protect with Cortana.
I think
if I have Feeny in the back, I'd also go Feeny.
I think he detected Cortana and switched to Feeny. I think that's what he did.
Yeah, that's what I would do as well. Like that doesn't risk the Togedemaru coming in. That also scouts for Togedemaru, and it doesn't lose his Cortana off of a misprediction.
Exactly. Yeah. Damn.
So you went Mimilax game 2, right?
Yeah, in game 2, he went Cortana Arcanine, and he went turn 1. I was like, I knew he couldn't KO Mimikyu, so I was like, I'm just not going to be greedy. So I went Protect Snorlax. No, actually, I went Trick Room because I knew that if I get once I got Trick Room up, like he really couldn't do that much, and so he actually went Extreme Speed into Snorlax and then Bloom Doom into Snorlax, and I protected. So and then turn 2, I OHKO'd him with Never Ending Nightmare, and it was kind of just downhill from there for him. But yeah, like that was just a situation where like just having a good lead and like just making a good from team preview, I was in a really commanding position just because of the leads, which is why team preview is so important, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, okay, so I feel like we've talked a lot, but yeah, you really have a good grasp on this stuff. I think this is a good time to jump into the battle. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, cool. Okay, guys, well, we'll be right back with the battle. Alright, we are back. We are about to start looking for a battle. This is the team, this is my Worlds team exactly, so Joey's going to make some changes to it, I think, but yeah, but it's similar enough that like you should still get the general idea, I think.
Okay, so this isn't my version of it then?
No, yeah, because I don't have that in game, unfortunately. Oops.
Okay.
Okay,
I read it.
This is actually, first of all, it's a good name. Egoistic Lily from Japan with a rating of 1680. Alright, Joey, you're in charge. Just tell me what to do. Oh, God.
Oh, God. Dude, I hate fighting Metagross and Dragonite. I haven't played one. Okay, so automatically, Feeny's coming. Arcanine, Garchomp, Dragonite. This is a tough one, dude. It's really... I definitely want Arcanine as well, because Metagross, Kartana, and whatnot, Garchomp. Again,
it's probably Bulldoze Dragonite. It's probably a Sulfur Bulldoze Dragonite.
Yeah, and the weakness policy Metagross type of thing with Bullet Punch. Yeah, which is why I don't like Mimilax. In the game 2, I might go on Mimilax, but I don't like it in this.
Okay, you don't want to do game 1?
I don't want to do a game 1. Okay. I don't like Mimilax in this. I mean, like if we can lead Mimilax and then potentially call like this Bulldoze switch and then just Never Ending Nightmare directly into that slot, like I would play risky this because every single time I lose because they turn 1 switch into Metagross.
I think we go Mimilax here because first of all, RZ Shadow Ball KOs their Metagross.
Yeah,
and then also we can Z Destiny Bond if we want to be safe.
Mimilax Arc Feeny?
I think so. I mean, I'm sorry to take control of this. I wanted you to do this, but this is like a weird matchup.
No, like every single time I always lead Mimilax versus this on the ladder. But every single time I do, I don't call their Bulldoze turn 1. They switch directly into Metagross.
Right.
And then they break my disguise with Bulldoze, and then they just Bullet Punch me and I die.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to so you know generally what the strategy is going to be. So we just have to be careful that we're dealing with it. Okay, Egoistic Lily. Dragonite's a cool Pokemon. I think it actually is better in VGC 17 than like a lot of people thought for a while.
So they run AV. I think Case was running Choice Band.
Some of them are banned, and some of them are AV. Okay, Arc Metagross. So that's weird.
I would just Z Destiny Bond directly into Metagross. It's too much of a threat.
Z Ghost, because the thing is that it's kind of a mind game. Because if they protect, then we're kind of in trouble.
Well,
right?
Initially, or if you also another play since they're faster than both of them is you could Z Destiny Bond. That way they're forced. That way next turn they can't attack you. You belly drum up. And then what that gives you is the Trick Room after, which is guaranteed. But then you don't KO Metagross. That's the issue.
But if they KO you, then you get. It's like it depends on like we might let Metagross get to +2, but we will get Lax in Trick Room with +6, which is pretty good.
Z Destiny Bond is good though.
You're in charge. Do you want a Z Destiny Bond or you want a Never Ending Nightmare?
Yeah, Z Destiny Bond.
All right, we're doing it and Belly Drum, right?
Yeah.
Yeet. Hopefully they just like Meteor Mash. Because if they protect, then we're in trouble. Okay, so they didn't protect, so we could have just nuked them, but
oh man,
it's okay because we want to play safe, right? And so this is definitely I think the best move without making a read.
Best case scenario, they Flare-Blitz and Meteor Mash Snorlax, and we get a +6 Snorlax, which they can't deal with at all in the back. Nope. By the way,
if Metagross goes down, they're just in trouble.
Exactly.
Okay, Bulldoze comes out, so our disguise is broken, which is actually good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Metagross is gonna kill. Metagross only runs attacks; they don't run sub.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, if they go for Hammer Arm, then it's bad.
No, don't Hammer Arm.
Don't Hammer Arm,
friend.
Please.
Just don't Hammer Arm. No, it's still a good turn. It's still a good turn unless he has Roar on Arcanine.
Yeah, it's still fine. Like, that's what we expected. Yeah.
Okay, so worst case scenario, they Roar out Snorlax.
They're probably not going to have Roar. Like, if they have Bulldoze, like, they want Bulldoze, they want Flare Blitz, they want Extreme Speed, and the only way they don't have Protect...
I fought Bulldoze Roar, bro.
What's that?
I fought a Bulldoze Roar Arcanine, and I fought a Bulldoze Dragon Tail Salamence, so, like, I'm pretty scarred.
Oh my God.
But, I mean, Protect Trick Room is free.
Yep, let's do it. I like that a lot. Yeah, this is exactly... And now we just have to play the game of... how much?
We're playing aggro next turn, by the way. We're going hard Arcanine on from Mimikyu. We're keeping Mimikyu alive. I'm tired of getting Bullet Punch.
Okay, we can do that.
Let me see what they do. It depends.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
What are they gonna do?
Hopefully, this person like doesn't 100% know and goes for Bullet Punch into Mimikyu.
If they have Hammer Arm, they probably they have to choose two of Meteor Mash, then Headbutt, and Bullet Punch. They might not even have Bullet Punch. Is the first thing.
That's true. That's true. The ones I fought were all they were all Hammer Arm, Bullet Punch, Zen.
Okay, yeah, that's a solid moveset.
I never saw Protect because I kept getting blown away.
Oh, poor Joey. Okay, so now I kind of want to double into the Metagross. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that play.
Shadow Ball. We'll Underspeed Arcanine. In the worst case, we might lose both our Mons, but then we still get Feeny and Arcanine in at the same time, which honestly isn't that bad.
Correct.
So,
the ideal position is we get rid of Metagross here. And if they Bullet Punch into there, then we get Feeny in or even Arcanine.
Yeah. If they Bullet Punch,
such an interesting Pokemon.
Yeah. Also, I think they're just gonna miss Hammer Arm is the real thing.
Think they're gonna miss or use it?
I think they're gonna miss Hammer Arm.
I hate inaccurate moves in VGC.
Same.
I play the Presses Blaze meta. I don't.
Nope.
I don't like that.
Nope. Hard pass. No.
So. Oh, he got us.
It's actually okay. It's actually okay. I think as long as we lose. Okay, never mind.
Oh no! That's fine.
That was really not a good move on their part.
Yeah, like why wouldn't they take advantage of it?
Okay, Joey. So now we have a situation where
they can't protect either of them.
Exactly, and we can protect Snorlax now.
I kind of feel like Destiny Ball and Mimikyu because Arcanine should attack you in theory, and then Metagross is going to attack Snorlax. I don't know if you want to trade that because we do have Feeny in the back as well. So Arcanine isn't really a threat.
I was thinking that if we Shadow Ball here, the next turn we can... If we Shadow Ball Protect, if we assume that they're not going to attack Mimikyu, then next turn we can go... Like, then we permanently pin Metagross because we always will have something faster and something slower than it, you know? Because that'll put it in frustration range, you know?
That's true. That's true. I like that play.
As long as they don't attack Mimikyu, but I think it'd be pretty risky to do that. Like, especially given that what we just did.
I'm surprised they double protect. That's the last turn I expected.
Yeah, I didn't expect double protect. Let's see. Oh!
That was a BP.
Dang it. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about, but I guess double protect worked because he didn't risk anything.
Yeah. Joey, do you want to do me a favor and calc? Will you go ahead and open up the calc, and will you calc
our Snorlax?
Our Snorlax with Helping Hand against Metagross.
Okay.
I believe we've got 76 attack EVs.
Yes, we do.
And they probably just put in like max HP for them.
Arcanine.
You should not Arcanine.
Yeah, I don't have to do it. Yeah, let me just do Snorlax in general. I mean, I think that's the play anyway. We have to go Lax here. We have to go there.
I think so as well. But
set +6. That should kill because I know I did like 70% when I did them. VGC max HP. So frustration does 56 to 60. So with the Helping Hand boost, that's
a KO.
85 to 100.
That's a KO.
Yeah.
He's already taken 15% as well.
Yeah.
And
so we have two turns
right?
Trick Room left?
I think so. And in the back, he could have... Yeah, okay.
No, we're still good. Worst case scenario, it's like Koko Garchomp, but then he can't Earthquake.
Yeah, he can't Earthquake, and we can also like reposition Arcanine and Feeny to like remove his terrain.
Correct. Correct.
So you want a Helping Hand Frustration?
Yeah.
I think so.
Though I feel like he might double protect.
He can protect again, but like it's we can't risk not attacking him, you know?
Correct. Metagross is the bigger threat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, like if you were playing this one, you probably would have just Z ghosted him turn 1, and he would have been KO'd, and then you would have won. So this is okay. It switches out, so that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah,
we get to figure out what his last. That's Kartana, so that's not. We're not in a terrible position if this works out the way we wanted it to. Nice.
Wait, yeah, well, Helping Hand always goes first, so let's see.
Yeah,
but that's good. Okay, as long as we KO.
Nah, it does KO, bro. 100%.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
Woof.
Okay, that's good. So if he sends in Garchomp would probably be the worst case. Okay, Arcanine comes back in.
Oh, nice. So it's his last turn. Like he has to detect. He's 100% detecting.
Yeah.
On Kartana. Do you want to make the pullback and go back out into Arcanine just to reset Intimidate on Kartana, or is that too risky?
It's risky, but the thing is, he doesn't really threaten. Like, if we go Flare Blitz into Kartana and Frustration into Arcanine, we don't lose.
He doesn't threaten that at all. You're right.
He can't really do anything about it. But we could also go risky, and we could also Flare Blitz into Kartana and Recycle, and kind of play like a middle option.
I mean, if we stay in with that,
I don't think. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I think Flare Blitz into just attacking is fine too, because like worst case Kartana attacks, but I'd rather find out what his last is as well. And plus Arcanine, if he's switching to Arcanine now, you would think that it's not Coco. I would say
it might be Dragonite. Okay, but yeah, I think we just attack with both. Like we don't need to make any crazy reads. Even if Trick Room runs out, it's not the end of the world. Okay, Arcanine protects, so yeah, it's probably double detect.
That means Kartana. No. Oh yeah, Trick Room's up. So I was like,
yeah, that's fine.
Kartana. I mean, isn't this just a safe protect with Snorlax and Flare Blitz into Kartana?
We can also take a KO if we want, or we could recycle. But I think we can protect from Flare Blitz here. Let's think about what he has in the back, because
if it's Garchomp and we remain at this HP, Garchomp does not win ever.
Yeah.
If we KO Kartana, it's gone. If it's Sash Kartana, that's fine. And if it is Sash Kartana, I don't want Arcanine going down.
Yeah.
Because I want Arcanine to stay here. That way he can't bring in Garchomp. And we can just extreme speed into that set. So I think Flare Blitz Protect is the safest.
Okay. Yeah, because
all-out pummeling Helping Hand would be the only thing that Arcanine would fear, and I'm not even sure if that does 100%.
I don't think it KOs. I'm trying to think. We have other options here, like, but I do think that just attacking is fine. Like, we could have switched Arcanine out and protected, but I don't want to give him a free sub. Okay, it's Helping Hand, so it's probably going to be a Z move. So as long as we live this, which I believe we should. Maybe not. Let's see. This is Bloom Doom? Okay, it's a Z something.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's all pummeling. Yeah, okay, that's bad.
So, wait, is it in Snorlax though?
Nah, it's gonna be into Arc, I think.
You think that's gonna kill?
I don't think it should, but I haven't really. I've never taken one of these at neutral. I've only taken them at -1. You know, so
I taken one and lived at 96. It took 96% off.
Okay, let's see.
Lax, Arcanine. No!
Come on. Oh, okay. So we probably lose. Okay, that's bad. Dang. Okay.
Oh, my bad, bro. Let me.
No, it's okay, dude. It's okay. Like, yeah, I thought switching into Feeny and protecting was safer, but we didn't want to give him a sub, and it's a learning experience, you know. And Z fighting isn't super common. Like, I think there was a couple turns where we probably could have done stuff a little better, but yeah, it's okay.
It's my fault.
Dude, protect Bulldoze, Helping Hand, Flare Blitz. He doesn't have extreme speed. I guess it's not that crazy, but now we just Muddy Water, I think, and pray.
Oh, Helping Hand. It always kills.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't positive. Yeah, it's okay. That's a learning experience, right? Like, it doesn't really matter on Battle Spot, but now we know like why it's so important to switch Arcanine out and keep positioning in mind. You know.
I kind of wish we Z Destiny Bond originally. You can still win. Yeah, she's Shadow Ball. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You can still win if you crit Kartana with Frustration.
Yeah, that's gonna do a lot.
It does 79 and 94 on neutral, like regularly. Yeah. So if we actually do crit, depending on his last weekend win. Oh yeah, you're right. Or +5. I mean, +5 can still. +5 if it gets a high roll crit can still kill.
Yeah, we'll go for it. Big damage. Pretty much regardless of what he has in the back, it's gonna KO us at this point. But yeah, this is a rough matchup, and we didn't make the turn 1 correctly, which is on me. So yeah, you're right. A crit would have KO'd, but. I don't feel that bad. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a learning experience, you know?
No, I'd rather learn. I feel like in best of 3, this would be fine. I don't mind dropping game 1 to, like, you know, take 2 and 3.
Yeah, exactly. And Z fighting Kartana really isn't that optimal. So I think mistakes that we made, I think that we should have switched Arcanine out when it was the last turn of Trick Room because Double Protect was so obvious. And then after that point, I think we should have switched Arcanine out for Feeny and Protected just because, like, if we got him at -1, he wasn't threatening anything at all, you know? So,
that's true, and he would like either even with Helping Hand, it wasn't gonna get a kill.
And if we got rid of Kartana, then Feeny very likely could have just won the game on its own since he had Arcanine and well, I mean, I guess it depended. I knew that one of them would have the Z move, like Kartana or Garchomp. So, like, I guess it made more sense for Kartana had to have the Z move in this matchup because he could have been Scarf Garchomp. But yeah, like I think the real thing there, I think we brought the right Pokemon. I think like we played the early game fine. Like we made a couple bad reads like with turn 1.
We just gotta call we should just call it the Protect.
Yeah, and then
that was my bad.
No, that was fine. But yeah, I think that like that's like why it's important because we were in a strong position, but speed again is important. So, yeah, I don't feel too bad about losing that one. It was like a weird team, and I think a 2 out of 3, especially once you start to learn the sets, like it'll be a lot easier, you know.
Yeah, well, like we would have known his Arcanine set is Protect, Bulldoze, Helping Hand, Flare Blitz.
Yes. Like I definitely, when I saw Bulldoze, I was like, okay, it's probably AV, and then it was Protect, Bulldoze, Helping Hand, Flare Blitz, which isn't. I guess it makes sense, but it's just kind of crazy. You know. But yeah.
Like I said, we learned from it. That was my bad though.
No, it was on both of us, dude. This is a team. This is a team effort. Like, do not feel bad about that one. And you know, it was like already kind of a scary matchup. So, yeah. Anyway, that's like, dude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone for watching. I want to do a lot more of these. I'm pretty busy this week, and Joey obviously is preparing for regionals. But I think we're gonna try our best to knock a few more of these out if we can.
Yeah, if you guys will have me, of course. I don't mind. I'm learning. Go over a new team every week, and I learn a new team.
Yeah,
so I really.
Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more of this, please make sure to leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Please go check out Joey, his Twitter and YouTube are linked. Wait, yeah, okay, yeah, both Twitter and YouTube are linked on the overlay. I was like, yeah, do you have anything you want to say before we leave, Joey?
No, thank you so much for having me. It was definitely a learning experience, and hopefully I do well at the regional, so I make your name proud.
You made me proud already, don't even worry about it. But yeah, I'm hoping to see you in Top Cut.
Oh, I hope so, man. That's a dream.
Yeah, I believe.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you for the next episode. Peace.